Oh, my goodness. I hereby call the special meeting of May 19th, 2026 to order. Will the clerk please call the roll?
Mayor Beck.
Here.
Vice Mayor Finn.
Here.
Mayor Pro Tem Bullock.
Here.
Councilmember Stokes.
Here.
Councilmember Dunn. Councilmember Edwards.
Here.
Councilmember Crawford. Here. Mayor, you have a quorum.
Awesome, thank you. Our only item on the agenda today is a call for executive session. Do I have a motion to enter into executive session?
All motion, Mayor.
Thank you. And first and second, please vote. Oh, it's a new screen. Look at this.
Making that picture change?
And it is already started. And it is 6:00. Thank you. We will enter into executive session. I hereby call the special meeting to order. I'm going to the wrong one. I apologize. It is 5:30. Hereby call the May 19th, 2026 study session to order. Will the clerk please note the roll? The only item on the agenda today is an update on the city's mountains, open space, and rivers ecosystem, the MORE program. For presentation, I will now turn it over to city staff.
All right. Good evening, Mayor and Council. Kevin Burke, Deputy City Manager.
Pause for a second. Do we have the camera on him? I just want to make sure, because he's got like the most incredible tie on today.
And it's not because we're doing battle. It's because
Yeah,
we're
he's
in
ready
nature.
for war, right? He's ready for battle. Sorry, go ahead.
Thank you, sir. So once again, the purpose of tonight's meeting is an update on the MORE program. The MORE program was endorsed by council back in October of 2024, and then funding in the FY26 budget starting July 1 of 2025. So without spoiling the presentation about the program's goals and missions, the MORE program was generally a response to Peoria's latest growth spurt. It seems about every 20 years we get accelerated growth, and we're right in the middle of one of those times. And so as a community that sits on the edge of the metropolitan area, our lifestyle tends to make use of that adjacent desert. And so whether it's hiking, biking, walking dogs, trail riding, OHVs, it's all right there, but it's on borrowed land. And so when the owners of that land are ready to develop, it can seem like we've lost something. And so the idea of the MORE program, along with good planning, was intended to counter that and balance development and desert lifestyle. And so with that in mind, let's see how the program's developing. And so I have to my right, Chris Calcaterra, our Parks and Recreation Director, and John Lovelet, who is managing our MORE program. So Chris, I'll turn to you.
Thank you, Kevin. Mayor, Council, thank you so much for being here tonight for a brief update on the MORE program. We've had a brief agenda. We're going to go through this, and again, any questions? This is really a robust program that has come together, as Kevin mentioned, in October, from October of this past year. Our program goals for MORE really stem from preserving our natural environment, and we've talked about that here for different means and methods for water, and now really the natural environment of land and space. Also protecting wildlife and our native cultural resources, providing safe and accessible trail systems.
Chris, sorry, Mayor, we're not seeing the, oh, is it, okay, my apologies, thank you. We're not seeing what you're seeing, so.
I apologize.
I didn't want to, but if I don't look at him if I'm over there.
So, technical difficulties, we appreciate. Sorry, no, totally. All right. Trails of the MORE program providing safe and accessible trail systems for our Peoria residents and visitors of all kinds, delivering education and conservation programs on desert ecosystems, and also emphasizing our community involvement through volunteer stewardship, which is something that you'll hear tonight from John that is really taken off. As you can see here, are the MORE vision and mission was really the support of you. It will have a lasting impact on Peoria's community for generations to come. The MORE vision and mission statements are bold, but allow Peoria to be a leader in that open space by connecting and protecting these natural spaces in which the community will be able to continue to recreate and participate with educational opportunities, which enhance the Peoria lifestyle and quality of life. Our implementation program began, and you're familiar with this infographic. We came to council with this in a study session, but we wanted to frame the basis of the MORE program with a white paper, and that came out in early September of 2024. This was brought forward to the council in October of 2024 in a similar study session. And then again in February, we requested funding to clean up the New River Channel. If you recall, that was a program where we actually learned that we were responsible for an area that we were not maintaining. And now you're going to see and hear tonight about what the improvements that occurred there. In October, we also held our first public event at the Riverside Reveal, showcasing the department and MORE's impact on the New River Channel and the surrounding community that utilize the trail. The MORE goal is about preserving more large natural areas for our community. Now I'd like to turn over to John Lillette, our manager for the MORE division, and let him share some exciting updates with launching MORE to the next level. John?
Good evening, Mayor and members of the council. It's a pleasure to be here, and I'll jump right into it and give you a pretty good idea what we're doing out there. Well, I've got a fairly small staff. Luckily, I've got one right behind me. She's up there. Her name is Laura Thornhill, and she is our trail site inspector, and she's out there with me quite a bit, looking over trails, new locations for them and whatnot. Chris Coiney, he is our volunteer coordinator and is already starting out, and I'll go into a little bit of detail of that, starting out, reaching out to the various communities that are out there, looking for volunteers and getting the community involved in what we're trying to do with the more and the more trails. Part of the thing, some of the things that we do is not only do we put in trails, but we are also going to protect the wildlife and also the cultural resources that are out there. Mr. Good, who is on the Parks and Recreation Board, had these pictures of pelicans out there on that little lake that we've got in Paloma. Those are some of the wildlife that we will protect whenever we might see them, but mostly what we're going to encounter out there would be the native wildlife, which would be javelina, coyotes, some of the burros that are wandering out there, and everything else in between, it seems. One of the first projects that was done was the river cleanup, and I have got to give a ton of credit to the park ranger supervisor, Scott Covey, who took this project on and really has been diligent to see this project through. And as you can see, there's been quite a bit of material that has been hauled off, trash and things like that. And many of you saw the corridor prior to, and what you see now is the difference between night and day. And so Mr. Covey did a great job getting that program going.
And if I could add, that was also a joint project with the police department. So we had, and code compliance. So we had all parties in the city work on a plan before that was enacted. And then to John's point, Scott really took the lead that with the group.
So not only do we want to inform the city what we are doing out there, we need to inform the neighbors, the people that live near these trails. So one of our big projects to do is to go out and engage with the public. And we do this in a variety of ways. We started out way back in October, making the Moore division visible, starting out with that Riverside reveal. And with that, we started to engage the community, get people interested in trails and how they can help us work with those trails, use those trails, and enjoy those trails. So many of the things that we do, as like we were doing today, we were out on Twin Buttes. The first thing we have to do when we're going to do a trail out there is we are going to just hike and do a flag line, what we think is going to work for a trail. With that flag line, we're looking at grades, slopes, drainages, all sorts of things that go into putting in a good trail and a trail that will do a lot to maintain itself. The last thing we want to do is build miles and miles of trail and then have to spend so much time after every single storm going out there to do more work on it. When we're laying out this flag line and looking at all those things, we're also looking at wildlife that's out there, whether it be a nest, a burrow, or even a wildlife trail that cuts through the trail. We're looking at trees and saguaros. How close are we getting to the root system? We don't want to damage them. We want to do as little mitigation as possible as we get close to those things. And then the cultural and archaeological resources, once we have laid out that flag line, then the archaeologists can come in, and we want to make sure that we are not going to be disturbing any of those archaeological sites. So it takes quite a bit of work prior to seeing that trail starting to be built before we can ever get to that stage. Some of the things that we have done so far is we put in the Happy Valley Trail, which is at the future trailhead site at Happy Valley and a little bit north of on 83rd Avenue. So that trail is in, it's being used. That little chuckwalla that we've got in there, that is an overlook to one of the prominent smaller peaks as you first start out. That was put in because there are people that don't want to hike a long ways, but you want to get a good view, and in a short distance, less than a half a mile, they can go to this overlook, have a great view of the valley, some of the landscape, and the mountains that are along the area there, and have a great look. We've also added a couple of trails up at Paloma Community Park. The Burro Flat Trail, appropriately named, literally cuts across that open space. And that trail was put in because it did cut across, and it was on areas that people were already using, and it makes it much easier to do a loop instead of having to go all the way up to the 303 and loop around and come back. There's also a small portion in there right by the pickleball courts. There's a little segment of trail that we put in there. That will be the main entrance into the trail system there at Paloma. And all of these trails are going to be multi-use trails. The Twin Buttes, we've already started to work out there, and we're finding that we've put in about 5 miles so far this year, 5 miles of new trail, and altogether with short little segments that we had to tweak and work on, it's probably been close to 8 miles that we've worked on trails. And we couldn't do any of this without the help of Cuddy Mountain Trail Company. And luckily, tonight we have with us Doug Hansen. He is the trail builder. He sits right behind me back there. He's waving to us all right now. Doug has been in this business a long, long time. He knows rocks, soil, trees, drainages, the whole works. That's why we have complete trust in him and all of the work that he has done for us. So we wanted quality trails, and we're getting quality trails. The other thing that, once the trail is in, one of the things that we want to do is we want to make sure it's signed. People are not going to get lost out there. They're going to know what the direction is, which way to go when they get out there. Before they even reach out there, we want to hit them with safety messages. This time of year, it's going to be about the heat, carrying enough water, sunscreen, hat, things like that. Councilmember Edwards and some school kids came to us and gave us their ideas in what could be done for hiker safety. And they were great ideas, many of which we have implemented. And it's just it was a great situation where young school kids came out, saw a problem with hikers and being overheated and not prepared. And these kids did a great job researching and coming up with some really great ideas.
I think they even mentioned hiking with their parents, so that might have helped the messaging as well.
All right, so with our volunteer program, there was, as you saw, there's only 3 of us on the staff. The volunteers from the surrounding communities and here in Peoria, those are the people that use the trails. Those are the people that we are going after to look to see if they want to become a volunteer. Being a volunteer out on these trails, these people, many of them already know how these trails are. They hike them frequently. They will become great ambassadors. It'll make a presence known out there. People will learn that those volunteers are people that they can turn to get directions. If they skinned their knee, they may have some bandages, some minor first aid things that they can help them with. They are going to be out there educating and engaging with the public. So they are going to be a huge resource. And I will think that over the years, there will be numerous people that will want to volunteer. We will train these volunteers. We will get them up to speed on what to look for, how to manage it. This right here is a very good example of the Sun City Hiking Club approached me months and months ago and said that they would like to do a project. So they brought out about 10 volunteers, and we took care of, mitigated a small social trail that was kind of going to nowhere. They came out, they were ready to work. We worked for a couple of hours, and in no time at all, that trail was somewhat erased from the landscape and made people walk on the existing trails. So they did a great job with that. The community involvement is, as I said before, going to be the key for us to really get this program going, these trails up and running, and people out there engaging with the public, educating the public, whether it be on wildlife or how trails are built. But it will be a good thing for the community. They will buy into this. They will take ownership of it. And having volunteers that take ownership of it, it's pride that they have, and it is going to be a plus for this program.
With that, what comes next? I can't express how fortunate we are in Peoria to have John and our Deputy Department Manager, Bill Murphy. We have more than 85 years of experience in preserve trail maintenance. So this program has really taken off. Again, we started in October, and we have built that base, and what you saw tonight was that kind of fruition of that work. But what comes next? So our volunteer program and engagement and outreach, this is where we've spent some time in the HOAs and the community outreach programs that they have. You'll see more of this. If you want us to approach any areas, this is something that the team is now prepared to do. You now understand a little bit more about our trails and when we can put those in. We are seasonally building trails in Arizona for some obvious heat reasons, but the fall and spring is our main construction period. And then as the MORE program develops, we want to take on more open space acquisitions from the development, from individuals. It may be, and then we have multi-jurisdictional opportunities as well with all the different land ownerships. We also are in the process of citywide study for basically what those parcels are, target parcels, and a trail study showing some of the gaps and some of the issues that we might have as we take on development. Again, as you know, the developments were entitled and written over 20 years ago. So these are things we need to piece the puzzle together. And then most importantly for me, and this is more as a Park and Rec individual and just basically leaving a legacy item, is developing those educational programs for our community. Project Citizen, Councilmember Edwards had introduced us to, some phenomenal young students. I mean, we're talking 8th graders, and we had a great meeting with them. Those ideas are absolutely some of those ideas are coming to fruition. But that's the type of momentum we want as we build this program and the development of the educational side. And there's also opportunities for sponsorship development. This could be corporate helping out on volunteer days. This could be cash coming through a sponsorship fund that helps support the program. But what we do know is we'll need the continued support and growth, and the MORE community will be continuing to move forward as this fantastic opportunity for Peoria has come to fruition. And with that, we'd be happy.
You touched on it. John, will you tell a little bit about your background, just so that folks know kind of the expertise that you're bringing to our program?
All right, I will. I came from the city of Scottsdale, and I was there for 25 years up until last September. And I spent 25 years in the McDowell-Sonoran Preserve, which has about 230 miles of trails. So I come with that system, that idea, that concept in mind. And that's where I first met Doug, was out working on those trails. And if any of you have been on some of those trails out there and how they're signed, how they're built, we want to bring that same very good system to what Peoria has. So hopefully I can get that thing rolling and with that past experience, bring that to the people of Peoria.
He's pretty humble. He forgot the 25 years he spent as a national park employee.
Yes, I did. I spent 25 years with the National Park Service, primarily in sites in the Southwest here, before Scottsdale picked me up, and I did another 25 years there. Please don't do the math.
It's impressive.
Yep.
Question?
Councilmember Bullock.
Actually, I don't have a question. I want to, which will shock you. I think it's important. I'm speaking for myself here, and I'm sure my fellow council members will agree. I want to be able to make sure that we're giving our city staff and the programs we have their fair due. and how much we appreciate what you do. A lot of times we get caught into the policy and politics and stuff, a lot of questions about stuff. I just want to give you a pro, and here's why, is that John came out with Chris and your staff to Trilogy. You met me out there and we did a presentation for them, and you did such an incredible job exciting them, showing them the possibilities of what the MORE program wants to become and is becoming. You had instant volunteers signing up and commitments to bring more volunteers just from the first meeting. People need to hear how excellent your program is and how well you're doing out in the public already with a small staff. And by the way, Doug, he's like a groupie to a rock star. He was completely fawning over your expertise in trail development. So John is your groupie, so that was good to see. But thank you for what you're doing, because it's interesting up in the Mesquite district where some of this stuff is happening. When I go out and talk to groups of residents or HOAs or whatever, I'm doing presentations, I always ask, what do you want? I mean, I'm a resident up there too. I can tell you what I want. And sure enough, number one or number two, every single time is protecting, preserving, and making a kind of usable open spaces. People are afraid we're going to just kind of concrete the whole entire North Valley. We're not going to do that. We have 30, 40% open spaces just in the PIC. And what you're doing here is going a long way, and it's being recognized far more than you know, because I'm hearing about it when I go out. Thank you for honoring and preserving open spaces and making them usable, whether you hike or whether you run or whether you do a mountain bike, whatever, to walk your dog. They recognize it's happening. I just need you to know that people are seeing it, and you need the accolades that you probably aren't hearing, because I'm hearing it for you. So thank you for what you're doing.
Councilor Edwards.
Thank you, Mayor. Chris, I just wanted to also mention, I want to thank you guys for everything that you did with the Project Citizen, because what you failed to mention is because of your assistance, they were actually able to win first prize in the state competition, and they're going to a national competition now because of this program. And so they want to spread what they learned from you guys across the state and hopefully across the nation. But my question to you is, the programs that you're talking about are for new trails. What about the existing trails that are already out there? Are you going to be retrofitting the signage with those QR codes for how to identify heat-related warning signs?
Mayor, Councilmember Edwards, great question. And the answer to that is yes, at a cadence that we can keep up with. We are going to pilot the signage program on Caldwell Buttes first. It's a pretty active trail system there. And also, to John's kind of earlier points, we do, and Laurel inspects our trails, so we actually do bring Doug down to do routine heavy maintenance on the trails to make sure the monsoon seasons that do have issues or make issues on the trails. So, thank you.
My last point would be, I've got a lot of friends that are mountain bikers, and a lot of them go to Scottsdale. And the reason why is because the trail system over there is so good. And if you can bring that to Peoria, which is exactly what they're hoping for. So I'm very, very happy to hear that you two and three are involved in this and making a difference in Peoria. So thank you for doing what you're doing. So great program. Thanks. And there being no further business, and the study session is adjourned. Good evening and welcome to Peoria City Council meeting. I hereby call the meeting of May 19th, 2026 to order. Those who are able, please stand for the invocation of Varahi. I apologize, I'm going to mispronounce this. Go ahead and pronounce your name.
Vaibhav Naugare.
Yeah, that I would not have gotten right, I apologize. Of Hindu HSS and remain standing for the Pledge of Allegiance.
Good evening all. I am Vaibhav Naugare. I am volunteer with Hindu Swayam Sevak Sangh. I'll chant a Sanskrit verse. Om Sarve Bhavantu Sukhinah Sarve Santu Niramaya Sarve Bhadrani Pashyantu Ma Kaschid Dukkha Bhat Bhavet Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. May all sentient beings be at peace. May no one suffer from illness. May all see what auspicious. May no one suffer. May peace prevail. Thank you.
Thank you. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Thank you very much, sir. Will the clerk please call the roll?
Mayor Back,
Here?
Vice Mayor Finn,
Here.
Mayor Pro Tem Bullock,
Here.
Councilmember Stokes, Councilmember Dunn,
Here.
Councilmember Edwards,
Here.
Councilmember Crawford. Here. Youth Liaison Navgari. Here. Youth Liaison Holly. Here. Mayor Beck, you have a quorum.
Thank you very much. We got a whole, you guys are a big group over there. You guys are ready in the bullpen. All right. We will now move on to regular meeting consent agenda. All items listed on the consent agenda are routine in nature and will be enacted by one motion unless request for removal has been received prior approval. Do I have a motion to approve the consent agenda?
Motion, Mayor.
Perfect.
Second.
Thank you. First and second, please vote. Councilmember Dunn, how do you vote?
I vote yes.
Thank you. It's not coming up as a, does it show a motion pass on yours? Mine's not coming up saying that. Do you have 6, on that side? You guys trying to give me an epileptic seizure by the screens here, or what are you guys doing? All right, all in favor say aye. 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 Any nays?
Aye.
Ayes have it, passes 7-0, thank you. Get away from the technical difficulty piece there for a second. And we will now move on to regular agenda and introduce new business. I now recognize City Manager, Mr. Mike Faust, to introduce a presentation on item 12R.
Thank you, Mayor. Mayor and Council, Economic Development Director Maria Lochner will present item 12R for discussion of possible action, which would be the adoption of Resolution 2026-77 relating to a real estate purchase and sale agreement approving the sale of a 67-acre parcel located at the southeast corner of Amcor Way and 96th Avenue to Amcor Technology Arizona Incorporated. Maria.
Thank you very much, City Manager. And good evening, Mayor and City Council members. So tonight's item is for a new purchase and sale agreement for Amcor Technology to acquire an additional 67 acres for a future expansion for their semiconductor packaging and testing capabilities in the United States. So Amcor's story in Peoria is one of responsiveness overall, responsiveness to a quickly changing market. As a brief background, the city entered into a development agreement with Amcor February 20th, 2024, to locate on 56 acres in 5 North. It wasn't long after that when Amcor was already looking at how they could increase the size of their building. In early 2025, both Amcor and the city began to explore various options to see how we can work together to allow them the flexibility to grow their footprint and expand operations to meet increasing customer demand. And the result of that was the city's purchase of state land on August 27th, in which we purchased 834 acres. Then the day after that, on August 28th, we did the land swap with Amcor, which would give them 104 acres, almost doubling in size. And at the same time, we also knew that they would probably need more, certainly some flexibility. And as a result, that same day, August 28th, when we passed the DA amendment, we included a first right of refusal on an additional 67 acres that we're here to talk about tonight. Then on September 3rd, Amcor broke ground on the 104 acres, as you can see in the photo there. And the city also broke ground on the various infrastructure projects that we are building. Both projects are on track. Amcor is probably going to be done with their building by the end of '27 and delivering product by mid-2028. And the city's infrastructure is on track to be completed, the roads and waterways by the end of 2026, and the sewer by about mid-2027. But then on October 6th, we got another surprise. At Amcor's official groundbreaking ceremony, they announced the tripling of their capital investment from $2 billion now to $7 billion. So when we talk about the terms of the current agreement, we're looking at the 67 acres. The market rate is about $11.13 a square foot, which will give you a fair market value of $32,474,776. And that money, when the city receives it, will go into our PIC revolving fund. Amcor has also agreed to a variety of performance milestones. First of all, they will open escrow within 3 days of execution, and they will conduct due diligence for no more than 180 days. At the end of that, they will close escrow within 30 days. All that together, if you add it together, means that we will close on the land with Amcor by the end of the current calendar year. As a summary of the overall impact of this project on the city, I think it's important to note all of the various things that have occurred since we first made that announcement back in February. First, this expansion builds on Amcor's previously announced state-of-the-art advanced packaging and test campus in Arizona. The campus is expected to be the first high-volume advanced packaging outsourced semiconductor assembly and testing facility in the United States. And the goal of it is to support the growing demand in various sectors, from artificial intelligence to high-performing computing, automotive sectors, and the communications markets. For Peoria specifically, Amcor is the employment anchor in the PIC, creating about 3,000 jobs. And the project has already won 3 awards nationally. First announced was the Deal of the Year Award by Business Facilities Magazine. Then you had the Corporate Impact Award from Trade and Industry Development. And most recently, last week, Site Selection Magazine announced our Amcor project as the top deal in North America. Furthermore, Amcor's growing presence in the Northwest Valley has sparked workforce development interest and was definitely a factor in the city's ability to work with WestMec to build 2 campuses in Peoria, one of which will be in 5 North and will cater to the semiconductor tech training programs. And finally, Amcor in Peoria is attracting both national and international attention from the semiconductor industry. This fiscal year, Peoria's ED team has partnered with GPEC, ACA, Amcor, meeting with clients and delivering speeches to and presentations at workshops and conferences, both locally and nationally. Additionally, this fiscal year alone, we've had 23 active prospects present interest to us, saying that they wanted to be near Amcor or in the PIC. So as you can see, a project such as this is truly a game changer, and the impacts have been substantial so far. Furthermore, we anticipate this to continue as the company completes their development and we see product being delivered from the facility within 24 months. So with that, staff recommends approval of this purchase agreement, and we'd be happy to answer any questions.
Counselor, do you have any further discussions? Councilor Finn?
Thank you, Mayor. I actually just had a couple of follow-up questions. I got to get used to this thing. So the initial price for for our portion, the 834 acres, was 46.7 million, I believe?
Mayor, Vice Mayor Finn, that is correct. We paid 46 billion, I think all in with financing fees and everything, we'll say is right at $50 million.
So with this sale at 32 and a half, that leaves us about 14 million left on a break even. Is that correct? Just on the land? Is that correct?
Mayor, Vice Mayor Finn, actually because of the Opus deal.
Yep.
And the deal that we've already done with the first Amcor transaction and some of the land we've already sold to Westmec, in total, our recovery is somewhere around $87 to $88 million.
And sorry, this might be a question that might not be able to get answered right now, but so where exactly are we on the ROI on that with infrastructure and everything else and kind of the break-even point, and how far away are we at this point?
Mayor, Vice Mayor Finn, another great question. So we're in the land for about $50 million, and the total infrastructure outlay for Pit Core 2 is $130 million. Make the math, so that's $180, right? $180 million. We're cash recovery so far in the deals we've done, somewhere in the $88 million range. So in 9 months, you're 50% recovered. You have a line of sight to, I'd say, break-even point in the next 2.5 years to 3 years. And the most recent updated model that was provided to the state, and we presented briefly on it in the March 28th financial study session, we've now updated that. It says by 2035, when we're sold out and built out in the project, we will not only have recovered all costs, but the profit share on the property will return an additional $50 million to the state and an additional $50 million to the city, above all investments.
Excellent. Thank you.
You're very welcome, sir.
Thank you.
Council, any other discussion? We have one speaker request from Ms. Shannon Semo.
I just wanted to make sure that everybody knows where I'm at. I'm totally opposed to it. There's no turning back now, I suppose, at this point, since the land's going to be sold. And we still don't have the answers in terms of water, electricity, quality of life for the rest of us that live there. I was never able to get a clear answer on how does it benefit directly Peoria citizens. I got a lot of political answers. Oh, the value of your house is going to go up. Well, we all saw how that turned out because our property tax is not the tax. You guys didn't pass a tax, but it has increased. So whether by default or by action, it has increased. So AI is here. And we've all made decisions, and your fingerprints are on all of it. And there is a very good chance that our lives are going to dramatically change because of all of this, good and bad. But I feel like a lot of the bad we can't predict. The good, you can always be like, this, and this can happen. It'll work out great. Well, that's it. We're here, so. Appreciate your time. Thank you for letting me talk.
Councilor, do I have a motion to approve agenda item 12R?
Mayor, I move we approve 12R as stated.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Council, please vote. Councilor Dunn?
I vote yes.
And it passes 7-0. Thank you. I now recognize City Manager Mr. Mike Faust to introduce presentation for 13 and 14R.
Thank you, Mayor. Mayor and Council, I'm really excited about this one because it directly benefits and affects our employees. The Human Resources Director, Christine Nickel, will present items 13 and 14R for discussion on possible action. to approve a budget transfer in the amount of $2.817 million to cover the startup costs for the employee health clinic, and to approve a lease agreement for the employee health clinic, which would be located at 15188 North 75th Avenue. There will be one presentation, Mayor, but council will vote separately on these two items. Christine, thank you for all your work that has gone into this, and I look forward to hearing all the details.
Thank you, Mr. Faust. And with me this evening is Camille Russell, Human Resources Manager. Camille and I have been working very closely to date on the clinic, and we're very excited to present to you this evening. So thank you for the opportunity. Tonight, our presentation is going to provide you with a high-level overview of a game-changing health strategy for the city of Peoria, its employees, and their families. And this is something that I am very passionate about, and I cannot tell you how excited I am to talk about this. So please bear with me because it's going to be hard to contain it. There are a lot of reasons that an organization may choose to host an employer-sponsored healthcare clinic. And all of them are important, they all matter. But for Peoria, the number one reason comes down to the employees. The employees are really what make Peoria special, and we know that. And it's important that we continue to have tools in our tool belt that will help us attract and retain the very best talent to serve this community. And we think the clinic is one of those things that will help us do that. An employee health clinic is another way to show commitment, and it demonstrates investment in the workforce. And we're not alone in this approach. Other public employers with healthcare clinics include Chandler, Maricopa County, Mesa, Goodyear, Phoenix, and Tempe. So we've covered the why, but now let's shift into the how, specifically how the clinic will operate. In a flat fee structure, the employer pays a predictable monthly fee. So the monthly fee is paid, and instead of paying per visit or even per procedure like you would with traditional healthcare, the employees can go to the clinic and get all of the treatment they need that is available within the clinic. And the employer has this one subscription that they're paying for each month, kind of like Netflix. So we're paying a flat fee for this, and there will be some pass-through costs like laboratory, outsourcing, or medication, things like that, that will pass through at cost. But for the most part, it will be a flat fee. This predictable model will help us, forecast over time the expenses while we're driving long-term healthcare savings for the organization. Through a variety of services, which you can see here on the screen, the clinic will improve access to care and convenience, which can lead to healthier outcomes. With this model, conditions are detected much earlier and managed more proactively, with less financial barriers for employees and their families. One of the most exciting things I am looking forward to in this clinic is advanced primary care. Advanced primary care, advanced primary care exchanges quantity for quality. So the providers are spending more time with the employees and their families. They're developing a relationship. They're asking those important questions, and they're getting to know the employees over time. So the employees are comfortable coming back to them, and they have that rapport that they might not have now with a primary care physician simply because they don't have the time to establish those relationships. This model will help us dig into other items that we might not be aware of. As employees, I can go and talk with my primary healthcare provider, and I might discover that I need testing for something else. That might lead me to using another service in the clinic, and so on, which will continue to drive utilization. With any employer-sponsored health or wellness benefit, one of the primary concerns of employees is always privacy. And the protection of the health information is paramount to the success of the clinic. The type of clinic that we have selected places the management of the clinic in a vendor. Our vendor that was selected is Marathon Health. Marathon will be responsible for the operational aspects of the clinic. This includes staffing, scheduling, service, records, etc. No city staff or department will have any access to personal medical information. And I can't stress that enough because this is one of the biggest concerns that we hear from employees. And we don't want the access to that information either. The city will be responsible for funding, defining services, and reporting the utilization through aggregate information we receive from the vendor. Because we know convenience is also important, we surveyed the employees and we asked them, would you like a near-site clinic or would you like an on-site clinic if you had the option? And the results were just about 50-50 down the middle. So we focused on looking for a location that would provide us the biggest bang for the buck. We were looking for something that was centrally located near where employees work and live so that the families could take advantage of the clinic. And we also wanted somewhere that had first floor access. We didn't want employees or their families who were injured, maybe on crutches, going up and down stairs or elevators. We wanted to have enough room for all of the services, including physical therapy, and we wanted to have ample room for parking for fire and sanitation trucks, larger vehicles like that. And we were very fortunate to find a great previous medical facility at 75th and Greenway. We've kind of covered the nuts and the bolts of the clinic, very high level, as I mentioned. The next step is reviewing the startup costs and the budget requests needed to bring the clinic online. The startup costs are just over $2.8 million, and that includes services, facility, and implementation. And there is adequate funding to cover this request. Next steps, if you approve tonight, will be the approval of the budget request and the lease agreement, and then we will get to work with Marathon, our vendor, to begin the implementation planning and the space renovations for an expected opening January of '27. And with that, Mayor and Council, staff excitedly recommends that the City Council approve item 13R for a budget transfer in the amount of $2,817,020 from contingency to the Insurance Reserve Fund, and item 14R, the Health Clinic Lease Agreement. Thank you.
Counselor, any discussion? Counselor Bullock?
Sorry, does my push the button, does it work on your side?
Counselor Bullock?
Just making sure the technology works. We paid a pretty penny. I want the button to work, for crying out loud. Thank you very much, Christine. Thank you. I bombarded you with a bunch of questions. I don't save my questions just for council. I also do them in emails. So thank you very much for the litany of questions I sent you, getting me up to speed. This is not my world. I need to understand it so I can communicate it correctly and vote appropriately. So thank you for kind of hand-holding me from, from dirt to finished product. Two quick questions I did forget to ask is, will there, and you may have mentioned this and I apologize, will this program scale for a second location? Do you ever see that, your crystal ball in the future?
Mayor Pro Tem Bullock, we have discussed that with the vendor, that there might be the opportunity in the future for additional offices, depending on how the city grows and where staff are located. It really will depend upon the utilization, and we'll be monitoring that closely.
Gotcha. And then a question, and just probably could take an hour to answer, but just a quick overview is, in what case would a city employee either not use this facility, like example that you wouldn't use this facility if you were having this type of procedure, this type of issue, and then will some employees who take advantage of these services no longer need the Blue Cross Blue Shield program, for example? Will this actually ever substitute completely for the standard health program, or is it really we're chipping away at what we're hitting that program with, ergo it lowers the cost of that, which pays for this here? So hopefully that makes sense.
It does make sense, but I lost a couple of the questions, I think.
Sorry, no problem. Basically, is there a time, again, let me ask this a different way. Will there be a time where an employee who uses this service no longer needs our standard health Blue Cross Blue Shields? That's first one. Will this completely take it away? And then second question is what types of situations will exist that this clinic will not benefit an employee?
Sure. Thank you for the question. Great question. The clinic will have some services that we won't be able to perform, especially right away, and maybe we might make the decision that it's not something that makes sense at the clinic at all. Time will tell on that. Right now, we know we're not going to have x-ray machines. We likely will not have ultrasound or MRI machines, things like that. It could happen in the future if it makes sense, but right now we're not planning it. So things like that, we won't be doing obviously major procedures there, but there will be a lot of services. There will be physical therapy, there will be the recharge room, there'll be primary care and back to school things, vaccination clinics, wellness coaching, those kinds of things. Tons and tons, especially with the chronic condition management. That is a huge selling point, along with being able to utilize the clinic for occupational health.
Okay, and everything else will be, if someone needs mental health services or needs advanced treatment or a specialist, will this clinic refer out to those specialists?
Absolutely, they will, and they'll help coordinate the care to make sure it's covered under Blue Cross Blue Shield. And your second question on if it would replace health insurance altogether, that really would depend on the employee's personal situation, but we're expecting it to be more of a companion like you indicated. So you can see the clinic for a lot of things, and probably until something very serious happened, that would work great for you. And then you could save your insurance for those more serious conditions. And really going to clinic and managing those conditions early on, we're hoping that a lot of employees don't have those more chronic conditions down the road.
Okay, thank you.
Councilor Finn.
Just a couple of quick questions. I'm a huge supporter of this as well. I think it's a fantastic thing for the employees to be able to have this to go to. I'm going to piggyback a little bit on Councilman Bullock's question. We'd have to keep some things still in place for insurance in case someone's traveling or nowhere near, the clinic to go. So that's going to remain in place for the employees.
Absolutely, no change there.
Okay. And then what would the I know that there's different plans, but what would be the price differential for an employee to be going to primary care services at the clinic versus within the network at Blue Cross Blue Shield? Is it a savings for them? If so, if you don't know how much exactly, that's fine, but I'm imagining it might be a bit cheaper to go there for the employees.
Yes, Vice Mayor Finn, absolutely. We have not figured out all of the details yet because we will be working with Marathon as the vendor. So soon we will be talking about all of those specifics on copays and things like that. However, we do plan for it to be a low or no cost program. And it will be less than the copays that employees currently pay because that's one of the mechanisms that you use for utilization.
But we haven't set that yet.
We
We
haven't
don't know
set it
exactly
yet.
what that's going to be. Okay, all right, that's great. It's awesome, thank you.
Ms. Shannon Semo.
Thank you, Councilmember Bullock and Councilmember Finn, for your questions, because mine were along the same line. So we don't know any of those answers yet, but you guys are all going to vote yes on it. We don't know if it's going to save money, how much money it's actually going to save. We have to work with the vendor. It's like the whole we have to sign it or pass it to know what's in it. That's kind of how this feels. Nobody has any concrete answers for anything that's been going on. And, I'm trying to be less hyperbolic. There are a lot of things that we don't have answers for, and we're just charging ahead, and yet here I know, you guys can talk to each other, it's cute. We're charging ahead, but we don't have these answers yet. We don't even know if the employees are gonna utilize it. So we're investing all of this money in it with the hopes that it will somehow balance out in the end, is the way it appeared to me during this presentation. Unfortunately, I didn't get time to read the documents, but we don't even know what the cost differential is going to be at this point. It seems like a good idea. Everything on paper always does, but then in implementation, that's where you find out the kinks. And then you find out later that it was a complete waste of money or nobody used it, or, I don't even, because we're paying a flat fee per month. So it's like a subscription service, but in reality, we don't even know if we're going to get a return on investment on it. We don't know anything. So why can't we just leave Blue Cross Blue Shield and not touch it? I don't understand. Thanks.
Well, let me give you an understanding of it just from a perspective of actual person that's put it into financing. You can sit down, man. This isn't a conversation, so it's me speaking.
Oh,
You
okay.
spoke.
I
So-
hear you talk all the time. I know.
Yep,
Go ahead.
you can sit down, man. So the way that this system works and why this is one of the platforms that we actually had a conversation on day one, as you know, was this is a system that we implemented in our business, and we save about $700,000 a year on 350 employees that are here in the city of Peoria. In the city of Peoria, we have 1,700 employees. In my personal business, we have 325 to 350 on any given area. We have a personal doctor on site. That doctor costs us about $175,000 a year and about $25,000 to $35,000 of supplies on a yearly basis, as we've discussed. By doing that, we actually lowered our insurance cost, my personal business insurance cost throughout that. And why we did that was a couple different reasons. One was actually employee retention. Being able to have access to a doctor and being able to not have to have an entire day off to be able to schedule that is a very, very big deal for a lot of employees. So employee retention and being able to recruit and retain employees across the United States, but specifically here in the West Valley, is very, very important because we're fighting for employees on a daily basis, and we should be trying to retain those employees and making sure that they actually have a good workplace to do that. This is a policy that we implemented in 2018 in my personal business. Where we started with physician's assistants, and during COVID, we went full bore and went with a full ER doctor that was an ER doctor from St. Joe's. Some people in this room, both city employees and individuals, have actually utilized that doctor for both IV therapy during being sick and things like that. And it's made a big difference in people's lives to be able to do that. The reason why that makes a big difference is because to try to schedule time off to be able to go see a doctor or being able to have your family actually see somebody like that is it's time consuming. And being able to save time and energy saves dollars, and being able to save dollars or either time with your family is a very, very big deal. So not everybody can understand that, but people that actually will use those services do understand that. When it comes to both fire and police, both on recharge and also actual physical therapy, we spend a tremendous amount of money when it comes to physical therapy. Chief, would you agree with that? And being able to have an actual staff that actually is taking care of that will save us a tremendous amount of money and time and effort to be able to make sure that our employees are taken care of. I can tell you personally, from being with the chief out and jumping off, quite not necessarily jumping like I would when I was 18, but jumping off a fire engine and being able to do that, I can understand why we have so many knee injuries and things like that, because our firefighters are up and down stairs, carrying heavy equipment, working on cars, doing those types of things. We know from being on personal boards and having conversations with HR how many injuries we have from that type of stuff, and being able to actually not only recharge our firefighters and actually take care of them in that way is a very big deal. We have police officers in the room that have all sorts of injuries going after criminals, or being able to actually just try to do daily tasks. And all those things come to play. So when we think about that, and we think about from an employee retention and being able to have access to a doctor without having to take an entire day off, in my personal business, the more time that I can actually give my employees, my personal employees, with their families, instead of them having to take off from work to be able to have to actually, or take time away from their families, to be able to actually go see a doctor is a very big deal. So to have complete access like this, I think is going to be something that is immeasurably exciting for a lot of employees that gives them a major benefit to do that. Let's talk about insurance costs. We saw our insurance costs go down over $700,000, my personal insurance for my company, over $700,000 last year, which is unheard of. Where's Kevin Burke at? Is that unheard of in business in general, right? How do we do that? We didn't charge the insurance companies we don't charge the individual insurance by seeing that. What we do is we use the doctor that we have on site to be able to do that. We've also had many saves by the doctor, because what ends up happening is by having access and being able to have personal access, what ends up happening is employees will actually see that doctor more often and build a personal relationship with that doctor to be able to get more checkups. That's just a commonly known thing inside the medical industry. If we have access to somebody that we can actually talk to, we're going to have those types of conversations about those types of things, right? I think this is a very, very big deal. A lot of you guys have heard me talk about it. I know other people have actually seen us in what we've done. Boeing is actually looking at the same system, so major companies across the valley are actually looking at the system. And maybe other people in this room could actually speak up and actually talk about how they've actually used our system, but I doubt that that's going to happen. So any discussions? Mr. Faust.
Thank you, Mayor. Not to belabor the point, but on the staff side, we preach our core values frequently, and one of those core values is innovation. And innovation can take a lot of different shape. And I just want to take a moment because Christine and her team have done a phenomenal amount of work to get to this place. And so it's been an idea that was on the books for a while. She continued to push it. You've seen, and you received in an email from Travis yesterday, the detailed analysis that went into this. Christine came and said, I want to pitch an idea. And she sold the leadership team because the economics made sense. And you've seen that data. But Christine, from me to you, to the rest of the team, innovation is having the courage to bring forth an idea, right? And to pursue that idea doggedly because you know it's to the benefit of our employees. You know that it has the potential of reducing cost, which is to their benefit, and it makes us an employer of choice. The council is now considering something that's a great benefit to all of us as city employees, and it's a direct result of your energy and effort, living out the core values of this city, and for that, I appreciate that.
Yeah. Thanks for the work you've done on this. I think it's vitally important for future employees, current employees, future employees, and I hope that the employees actually understand what work you've actually put into this to actually make this come to fruition. So, council members, any other discussion? Okay. Go right ahead, Mrs. Suna. It's on 14R. I apologize. Yep. I'm still learning this system down here. We have a new system, so we're still trying to catch up with technology.
I worked on it out there. I
Yeah.
thought I did it wrong. Some of the discussion here answered some of my questions. And I feel like there's still a lot more that needs to be discussed before you vote on it. I did have a discussion with some employees who contacted me on this. And my understanding is they have excellent insurance, just like I do. I kept my insurance from when I left the state of Arizona. And I still paid that high premium because I thought that my insurance covered my needs very well. And that's the understanding I get from the employees, that they have very good insurance. I don't have an issue going to my doctors. I get all the services I need. Everything that was on that presentation, I get through my insurance. Now, my question is this going to change a premium for employees? Is it going to, down the road, increase in insurance rates? So there's a lot still that needs to be answered. I also wonder, to what extent did the employees get asked about, do they want this? Will they use it? Do we know that they're going to use it? We don't know that. And what I understand from the employees that I spoke to is that they never were surveyed. So if it's about retention, like you said, Mayor, I understand how your system works at in your work, but I think it's a little bit different because I don't know what kind of insurance your employees have there. But city employees, state employees, county employees, we have excellent insurance. And so I think we need to take a closer look to see if this is actually going to be advantageous. I would never go to a clinic like this because my doctors take care of me. Senior care, senior health care is very close to what you were talking about with the firefighters and police, very specialized. Senior health care is the same way. I would not change anything with my insurance. So my question, I guess, is, are you talking with employees about this? What do they want? Will they use this? So I know that you have a doctor on staff. You even offered that doctor to me at one point. But we're talking about employees. Do they want this? And I think they need to be included in this discussion because they're the ones that are going to use it. Anyway, thank you for your time.
Thank you for your comments, ma'am. We have talked to employees, lots of them, and we've had this discussion for many years throughout this process. And I think that it's vitally important to not only the retention aspect of it, but a lot of people will use this service. That's just the reality of it. Both from police and fire access and being able to have our own capability on hand will drive a lot of that by itself. Just in the savings that we have from from the outside services that we use currently and being able to have our own services. Do you two agree with that? Yeah. All right. Thank you. Council?
I'm so sorry. Can I just ask one
Please.
more? I'll be very quick. I just want to re-ask what I thought I asked earlier and just make sure that I have the understanding of it. No one is forced to go use this clinic, is that correct?
No, this is just a companion to the existing plan.
And the existing plan will still be available for all employees to use if they so choose. They either don't want to go to a clinic, they went there once, perhaps didn't gel well with the particular doctor, whatever that reason may be. They still have the opportunity to use their existing insurance benefits, and this is, for lack of a better term, a perk of if you just need to go see if you have strep throat, quick in and easy, go there. For not, I don't know if it's free yet, but it's certainly more economical than going and paying the copays at your regular doctor. But if you would like to, you can still do that. Do I have that correct?
Vice Mayor Finn, you do, and in addition to everything that you stated, one of the goals is also to reduce the city's long-term health trend so that we can continue to provide the same benefits at reasonable rates for employees.
Thank you.
All right, so we will do two separate votes. Council, do I have a motion to approve agenda item 13R?
I'll motion, Mayor. I'll second.
Thank you. Council, please vote on 13R. Councilor Dunn?
I vote yes.
Thank you. And it passes 7-0. Thank you. I like your tap in there. Council, do I have a motion to approve agenda item 14R?
Motion approved.
Second.
Councilor Dunn?
I vote yes.
Thank you. And it passes 7-0. Thank you. Now recognize City Manager Mr. Mike Faust to introduce presentation for 15R.
There we go. Mayor and Council, Director of Public Works Rhonda Humbles and Deputy Director John Fruden will present item 15R for discussion and possible action to approve a budget amendment in the amount of $800,000 from the General Fund Contingency Plan account to the fleet maintenance, specifically to pay for unanticipated fuel costs and fleet maintenance related expenses. Director Humbles, please.
Thank you, City Manager, Mayor, and Council. We do have a couple slides on 15R, which was initially a working title of Pain at the Pump, because most, if not all of us, have been impacted to some degree by the oil crisis. We know how it is impacting us individually, but over the next couple slides, we will discuss how it is affecting the city, specifically the fleet operations and the city as a whole, for conducting daily operations to serve our community. With that, I will turn it over to John, who I've made promise not to say cringe-worthy words such as conflict or Strait of Hormuz.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. There we go. Good evening, Mayor and Council. So with that introduction, I will rely on pictures to tell the story, and we have two good ones. The first are some ships in some unnamed area having troubles. The second is a report from a news agency that was dated March 28th. So as you can see, from February to March, the diesel fuel prices in Phoenix went up a significant amount. And so therefore, that is impacting the operations. Fleet maintenance buys fuel for the city. We run our own fuel facilities. So you can see what we're requesting money to basically fill back in and purchase to the end of this period, this fiscal year, the diesel, the unleaded, the tires directly related to fuel costs. Just so you understand, we took these numbers based on April 1 to the end of the fiscal year. We looked at what the costs were to make it to that end, incorporating the maintenance costs for the items of the vehicles and then these fuel commodities and the related tires, which are so directly tied to fuel costs. We did the daily on the maintenance items, and then we used the high mark on what fuel cost us in this upturn. and we forecast by daily consumption to make us that period of time. And Fleet has scraped the couch cushions, and as of today, I turned down one request for fuel, and we're going to use $80,000 to get us to the next couple of days, and Fleet will have $3,000 left of available budget. And as you see on the next slide, what that buys us is about 2 weeks' worth of fuel. So what you can see shows you why we're in this situation. On the average fiscal year 25, you can see we paid $2.64 a gallon for diesel, $2.62 for unleaded. That's the city cost. Those are the good old days. You can see that we have in recent purchases nearly doubled that. So we're buying a tank load of diesel fuel for, I've seen, up to $44,000. We go through a tanker load of fuel, diesel, every week. A tanker load of unleaded every week and a half. So you see the consumption, 1,100 gallons a day for diesel, a little over 900 gallons a day for unleaded fuel. So it's a fairly self-explanatory story, because those numbers you saw above is what the budget was based on, and then we just had no way to forecast that we'd be in the situation that we're in right now. What we have done and continually do to try to manage that, if you look at the chart from the Department of Transportation, you look at their basically retail costs for last year, $350, $359. That is pretty much equivalent to what you would see in the market in Phoenix. But look at what we're paying, because we run facilities ourselves, we buy in bulk, we utilize cooperative contracts primarily with the state. We select contracts that we use, so we use one for the main bulk purchases, we use another for what we call bobtail for the smaller sites because it's cheaper. We renegotiate, use different contracts. We just changed oil providers to cut down our DEF costs by 1/3, which is the component you use for diesel operation, and reduce oil costs. So we do our best to make efforts to minimize this. This wasn't forecasted. Again, it's a high dollar mark, so our expectation and hope is we will be returning a good portion of this money to you. We just have no way to know what it's going to cost us to make it to the end. And with that, our request is, and recommendation, the approval of $800,000 to cover both maintenance and fuel costs to the end of this fiscal year.
Does the city buy on long-term futures contracts for fuel? Like airlines do that, for example. Southwest Airlines will buy in a 3-month futures contract to try and, or a 6-month contract to try and stabilize fuel costs, knowing that they go up and down a little bit. Now, this is, of course, out of control what's happening right now. Is the city able to do a long-term futures contract on fuel? Or it sounds like you're almost buying, not as needed, but when the tank is empty, you fill it up and you go that way. I'm simplifying it. Can you give me a little bit of understanding of that?
Yeah, so obviously we don't have a direct contract with providers. It puts us at risk of priority, because when you're a one-off, what we've run into in other situations is because we're the one entity, we don't get the tank pulls when we go into a crisis like we had about 2 years ago when we changed fuel blends. And so therefore, we do work off cooperatives where we're joined with others, so we don't have that potential. We have no storage capacity. Phoenix has their own tank farm, right? So they're able to store and buy and purchase. We can do minimal targets. We can watch it, but you're talking within a week's capacity because we really don't have deep reserves. So we're not able to accomplish what you said. Our best choice is join a group to get the pricing and try to balance that. We get some stability. We're in a crisis. They're going to provide for us, get some type of priority. And that's the best approach that we've been able to negotiate for the past few years.
And then in discussion for another day, is there a foreseeable solution for Peoria in the future to do something like that? Or is it just our size is not at the level where we can afford and it's fiscally possible or reasonable to do an underground tank farm like Phoenix does, for example, to hedge our bets against and almost create our own futures situation going on inside our own city? Are we just not big enough for that yet?
Yeah, it would be a substantial cost. What we do try to do on the most smallest of terms is every time we're building new facilities like Fire Station 8, we're trying to add fuel capacity. When we redid Fuel Station 7, it's smaller amounts, but it's significant for us, where we're trying to increase in other sites as we build to build that capacity, but a tank farm's a pretty significant cost. So not that it couldn't be out of the question, but I think it would be cost prohibitive for our size and our operation.
Makes sense. All right, thank you.
Yes.
Any other council discussion? No? No speakers. Council, do I have a motion to approve agenda item 15R?
Mayor, I move we approve 15R as stated.
Do I have a second? First and a second. Council, please vote. Kessler, done?
I vote yes.
Thank you. And it passes 7-0. Thank you. I now recognize City Manager Mr. Mike Faust to introduce presentation for 16R.
Thank you, Mayor. Mayor and Council, Chief Financial Officer Sean Kindle, Finance and Budget Deputy Director Peter Christensen are here to present item 16R for discussion and possible action to hold public hearing on the fiscal year 27 final budget and the truth in taxation increase to the primary property tax levy, and by a roll call vote adopt Resolution 2026-78 approving $251,000 truth in taxation increase for FY27 that Sean will walk us through in detail. Thank you, Sean.
Actually, Peter is going to walk us through that in detail.
Thank you, Peter.
So my job is to hand it over to Peter.
Thank you, Mr. Faust. Good evening, Mayor and Council. We are nearing the end of a very long slog to approve a budget for fiscal year 2027. So tonight we will, for your consideration, we have the final budget for your consideration and adoption, as well as what we call truth in taxation, and I'll walk us through that here in a minute. The last step in this year's budget process will be to formally adopt the property tax levy, and that will be in a couple weeks from now. We've spent a lot of time over the last few months talking about this budget. I'm not going to go into a lot of detail tonight, but the budget as recommended totals $1.185 billion. That's actually a slight decrease from this current fiscal year. The largest category of the budget is capital at $579 million, or about 49%. The day-to-day operations of the city, the operating budget totals $490 million, another 41%. And then we have just under 5% for debt service and just over 5% for our contingency appropriation. This budget is a balanced budget. It's a sustainable budget. There are no increases in the sales tax rate or the property tax rate. The budget addresses council's priorities and is compliant with all state and city laws. So before I move on to truth and taxation, are there any questions about the budget for fiscal year 2027?
None.
Okay. Moving on then to truth and taxation. I know this is something you've seen before, but I will just kind of walk us through why we have to go through this. Basically, anytime the primary property tax levy increases after you take out or account for new construction, regardless of the rate, we have to go through a series of public noticing and a formal vote by the council, which is scheduled for tonight. Just as a reminder, the property tax system in Arizona is divided between a primary and a secondary levy. The primary, which we're talking about tonight, is for any general government purpose. The secondary levy is solely for principal and interest payments on outstanding debt. And the way that we calculate the tax levy is pretty simple. It's just you take the tax rate and you multiply it by the total valuation of the properties in Peoria. Want to spend a minute talking about each of those two variables and which are in the city's control and which are not. The tax rate is what the city and the city council controls. As you can see in this chart, fiscal year 2027 will represent the 19th consecutive year that the city's overall property tax rate is $1.44 per $100 of assessed valuation. So no change there. The change in the levy is caused purely by the value of homes within Peoria. This shows just the history of our assessed valuation. These are numbers provided to us by the county assessors of both Yavapai and Maricopa County. You can see we've increased year over year ever since fiscal year 2013. And so we've had to do this process each one of those years since. Just breaking down the rate a little bit more, the $1.44 rate that I mentioned is split between the primary rate of 29 cents per $100 and then the secondary tax rate of $1.15 per $100 of assessed valuation. Again, no change in that split between primary and secondary or the overall rate for fiscal year 2027. And then when we look at the actual levy or the dollar amounts that the city will collect, you can see that there is a change of about $2 million from year to year. About $410,000 of that is on the primary levy, and of that amount, $251,834 is considered exclusive of new construction and represents this truth in taxation increase that you will vote on. As I mentioned, there are a number of outreach and notification steps that go along with both truth in taxation and the adoption of the budget. This just summarizes what we've done. We're fully compliant with all the statutory requirements. So tonight, we need to hold a public hearing on both, a single public hearing on both the final budget and truth in taxation. Once that public hearing is closed, council will take a roll call vote on the truth in taxation increase specifically. That's item 16R. And then once this meeting is adjourned, there will need to be a special meeting to approve the FY 2027 budget. There will not be another presentation, just a vote. And with that, I can answer any questions about truth in taxation.
Councilor Bullock.
So I'm going to ask you to go way down in your knowledge, and we're going to a 101 version here. So, and I say that lovingly, of course, you've been very helpful to me, but I get questions from residents, and I want to bring it down just a little bit to more understanding for me as well. So the total budget is about 0.59% less than our current budget, which ends on June 30th, of course, this year. Yet, our tax rate doesn't change. If your house goes up in value, you're paying more. Actually, congratulations, your value of your house went up. So even though it stinks you're paying more, you actually just have a paper profit there, so good for you. But we're showing a $2 million, when you talk about the tax, the truth in taxation is a $2 million difference there. So merge those two together. We have a 0.59% reduction in our budget. We have no change in our tax rate, but yet we have a little over $2 million difference there, which is part of the thing we have to vote on, truth in taxation. So can you explain to me as like just a 101 version of what is that $2 million for, and why does it even exist? And why does that appear to be, even though it's not showing up in a tax rate, it still appears as some kind of an increase? I can hear that question coming. I need to be able to answer that simply.
Yeah, let me try to address that, and Sean can definitely jump in. Obviously, there's a lot of funding sources that make up the city's budget. This is one of them. Yeah, as your property tax, the value of your home goes up, you are going to pay more in property taxes, even if the rate stays the same. You can argue that's a good thing because we all like our properties to go up. And yeah, you'll see a slight increase in your property tax bill. As far as the $2 million, that's just, yeah, that goes into the city's funds, into a specific fund, either the general fund or the debt service fund. This is all calculated into, when we put together the CIP, the fact that we're banking on an increase in the dollars that we're going to collect in property taxes to pay for all the different projects that are funded by that particular source. The primary property tax really doesn't generate a whole lot of revenue to the city. It's about 3% of the city's general fund. So it's a nominal difference. Does that answer the question a little bit?
It gets close. I get really looking for, because they almost look like diametrically opposed issues. And we have a tax rate that stays the same. So I guess the answer to the question, and really the last question, is that $2 million plus or minus. Is that a good thing or a bad thing?
It's a good thing to the city, again, because we forecasted that and built that into our budgetary projections. So we need that revenue in order to pay the debt that we're issuing to build a lot of the capital projects that we've been talking about. From a property owner standpoint, they probably don't like to pay the additional tax on their home, but I think we all like our property values going up too. So you can argue it's a good thing and a bad thing, I suppose.
Okay. And I think that's what seals it. That just gelled in my head. Thank you. Whereas you're looking at the extra $2 million plus is coming into the coffers of the city projected, and it's really based on the fact that property values continue to increase, and even though our rate's the same, we're actually bringing in more. The reason I wanted to break it down is because I could see it being, because until you explain it to me and Sean's explained it to me, it was confusing. to where, okay, we got $2 million, but now we have to, in essence, vote on it. And this truth in taxation, it's very easy to look at that and say, well, is that an increase? Why is the city getting more? Why are we having to vote on accepting it? We're bringing in additional capital, additional revenue because of the increasing home values, and we have to then allocate for that, and we have to codify that, and we have to vote on that because it's additional revenue that we are bringing into the system to accept that. Okay, and that's the truth in
Correct.
taxation. So there's like 3 or 4 different things there. I'm just trying to meld it into one where people go, okay, that makes complete sense now. Okay, thank you.
It's a complicated system unless you work in it every day, and then it's still a little bit complicated.
I'm 15 months into this job, and I'm just starting to get it. Thank you.
You're welcome.
All right, with that, we will now to public hearing. So we will now open public hearing for item 16R. We do have a member of the public that has requested to speak, which is Ms. Shannon Semo.
Sorry to everyone's ears. Okay, so I remember when this started with all the taxes and the property taxes way back when in the, I believe 2024 or 25, we were told that the taxes would only be levied on new builds, but not the rest of us. Then, looking at the breakdown, it would appear to me, and if I'm wrong, please correct me because I hate looking stupid, the increase comes obviously from higher assessed values on existing properties. So while the intention was not to increase taxes in a roundabout way, you kind of did. And it's not exactly clear where all the money goes to, and I understand, and I thank you for the 3% explanation of how much of that money actually contributes to the budget, because that gave me a better idea of how much money in the grand scheme of things is it really. But it just kind of feels like you guys can campaign on, we didn't raise taxes. And you didn't, but like all of our property values have gone up, whether we've done something to the house to justify that increase in value or not. And also, you know, there are people in the south and in the north, they're senior citizens. And they're on fixed incomes, and then families who are single moms, which is, you know, something that this board or the council seems to really look out for, single moms and the underprivileged. You would think that you would be concerned about the increase. I don't know how long it's been since you guys have been in a situation where every penny counts, and we've already seen how much gas and everything has gone up. When was the last time you did your own yard? When was the last time your wife cleaned the house or you cleaned the house? You're in a different tax bracket, and I mean that respectfully. I truly do. You're blessed, and that's good. But for the people who are not necessarily in a similar situation due to circumstances out of their control, whether it be age, disability, you know, they lost their job, the economy's not great, even though everybody keeps trying to pretend that it is. You know, this is a big deal for them, and it seems as if it's gone up about 5% every year, and I know that there's a cap within, or not 5% every year, but on my tax valuation, it shows the city of Peoria plus 5%. And I know that comes from the bonds. I have researched it, I know, but for everybody who is now having to pay more on a house that may or may not have gone up realistically in value, because value is only as much as somebody's willing to pay for it. Thank you.
I will now close the public hearing of 16R. Councilor, I have a motion to approve 16R.
Move to approve.
Second. I have a first and a second. Council, please vote. Councilor Dunn?
I vote yes.
Thank you. And it passes 7-0. Thank you.
I'm sorry, Mayor, we need to do a roll call vote on that
I
particular
apologize.
item.
Okay. Roll call vote. Well, Councilor Dunn already is good.
She did.
Councilor Bullock?
Yes.
Sir Crawford? Yes. Councilor Edwards?
Yes.
Councilor Stokes?
Yes.
And Councilor Finn?
Yes.
And Mayor B, yes. Thank you. And we will have a 7-0 vote. Thank you. I now recognize City Manager, Mr. Mike Faust, for his report. Thank you, gentlemen. Do you have a video?
No, Mayor, there is no video tonight. I learned my lesson the last time. We did send that video to all council members immediately after that show, and we have since changed our process and being prepared to present videos on a go-forward basis. But there are no videos this evening, sir. Just a couple of items before we wrap. This is an important achievement for the city. The city of Peoria has once again earned platinum level Healthy Arizona Worksite designation from the Arizona Department of Health Services. An organization reaches this platinum level through an evidence-based efforts to support the health and well-being of employees and our families. This is the 9th consecutive year, and I think just speaks to the ongoing commitment of our team to the health and well-being of all of our staff. We know that a healthy team provides better service to our community, and that's why it's such a priority. We're proud of this continued achievement and its positive impact on employees and that net impact on residents. I want to highlight for everyone here the Workday team. So, Mayor, Council, you're aware that over the last year and a half, 2 years, the team has been working on an ERP installation, put in the finance and budgeting modules. October was go live. The payroll side of it went live just a couple of weeks ago. I think we just finished our second payroll cycle. I have lots of scar tissue in my career from doing multiple ERP installations, and I just want to give a special kudos to the team here in the city of Peoria. Kevin Burke, thank you for your leadership. You've done a phenomenal job. Christine Nickel, Chris Dahlman, Sean Kindle, our partners at CE Wilson were fantastic partners, and just to the overall team. To be able to go forward on an ERP install of this magnitude, we're $1 billion organization, 1,900 employees total, and for this to go, I mean, there were rounding errors and minor bumps along the way. So kudos to the team. I don't think anybody will ever really understand the type of pain that goes into these things. The paychecks just show up in our accounts, but we're forever grateful for the work of the team. So fantastic, absolutely fantastic job. It's that time of year again, so Peoria's heat relief program kicked off, although this morning was fantastically beautiful. The heat relief program kicked off May 1st and will run through the end of September. And what that means is the city hosts cooling centers and hydration stations during these periods. This service is included at these locations. They include access to water, heat relief supplies at the designated locations, which are displayed on the screen, the community center, Rio Vista, Peoria City Hall, Development, DCSB here on campus, the main library, and Sunrise Mountain Library all participate. Shockingly, last year in 2025, we had over 3,600 residents utilize those services and resources. And the city remains committed to taking extreme heat seriously and encourages everyone to stay safe. And for our staff that are out there serving in the heat, please continue to be mindful. We want your best. And lastly, Mayor and Council, the summer reading program kicks off on June 1st. This program encourages kids and families to build strong reading habits, maintain skills over the summer, and enjoy literacy activities together. To register, they can go to maricopacountyreads.org. And with that, Mayor, that concludes my report for the evening.
Thank you. Reports from Youth Liaison. Felicia?
At our May board meeting, we met with the Maricopa Student Election Program, and the board voted to assign a collaboration development to our Civic Engagement Committee. The board identified key collaboration opportunities to use this program's voter education and paid election clerk position as resources for the civic engagement presentations. Being a youth council liaison this year has really made me realize how extraordinary this city is, and seeing people come together, sharing their opinions, and genuinely caring about what's going on around them. So once again, thank you, Mayor and Council, for allowing me to sit up here. I can't wait to see what you guys do next year.
That's awesome. Monica?
At our May meeting, the board elected our new chair, Manya Thawari, and I had the honor of being elected as our new vice chair for the next year. I'd also like to take a moment to express my gratitude for being able to sit up here alongside all of these amazing individuals. It's been an absolute honor, and I think the most important thing I learned this year was that every decision has countless thought behind it. I'd also like to thank the Peoria Youth Advisory Board for giving me the chance to help serve my community in ways that I couldn't even have imagined. And last but not least, thank you to all our council members for all you do and to improve our city. Thank you so much.
Thank you. And next is the mayor's report. This next week, we're 2026. City of Peoria is being named 2026 Best City for Business by the Arizona Chamber of Commerce and Industry. We were nominated and received the award of chamber members due to the business-friendly climate and processes, and the fact that Peoria has proven to be the place to attract business and relocate and expand due to the commitment of economic development. Thank you. Thank you, thank you, thank you. It's a pleasure to actually see this growth happen. From day one, one of our top priorities, if not our top priority, was to turn Peoria from a bedroom community into a premier destination for economic development and job creation. I'm proud and very appreciative of the recognition by the Chamber for this award, which will be presented on June 2nd. Literally, we'll be running from that ceremony to the council meeting, actually, is how we're going to work that out. This award, is a very big deal when it comes to the actual state itself. I actually think it will actually help go a long way when it comes to people recognizing as businesses and us trying to drive the future of business in the city of Peoria. And I really hope that people are proud and see what we've actually accomplished in a very short period of time by doing that. Peoria Youth Council Liaisons. Tonight is the last meeting for our youth liaisons. As such, I'd like to take a moment to have sincere thank you for both Annika and Felicia for their dedication throughout the school year, doing homework while they're actually waiting in the chambers, trying to get ready to actually come in and actually bouncing back and forth from meeting to meeting and school presentation. To show our presentation, our appreciation, we have a present for the two of you that I'd like to present. So. As I just said, this is the first of many for the two of you, I'm sure. I mean, the things that you both have actually seen, I wouldn't let him play with that. He might stab somebody with it on accident. You never know. You're two both very impressive young ladies, and I think you're going to go a long way, not only in your next endeavor in school, but also in life in general. So thank you for all your dedication to that. With that, we will, no further business from that. Next on the agenda is a call to the public. As a reminder, each speaker shall refrain from personal attacks, foul or abusive language, and will maintain a civil, courteous manner and tone. Members of the audience shall respect the rights of others and will not create noise or other disturbances that will disrupt or disturb the meeting. We have Frel Azure, sorry.
Good afternoon. My name is Azure Farrell, and I work at the city, at the Peoria Resource Center.
Just a minute.
Is that better?
Yeah, perfect.
Okay,
Thank
hi. I brought my Avondale Contributions Assistance Program grant application to be seen in front of you guys today because back in January of this year, I became a formalized 501c3 and I applied for your grant through the City of Peoria. That was the first grant that I ever applied for in my entire life. And I learned through trial and error, and this is actually my most recent grant application that I've submitted throughout the whole West Valley. My mission is to serve veterans through any resource and advocation I possibly can. I meet one-on-one with every single one of my veterans, and I advocate for them. I do claims filing, I do appeals. I pretty much do anything and everything I possibly can for my veterans. Whatever they come to me with, I meet with them. We put a game plan for success together, and we pretty much go off the list and we say, okay, we need X, Y, Z, whether it be getting them enrolled into VA healthcare, whether it be porting their information from another state so that way they can be enrolled into the Phoenix healthcare, VA healthcare, whether it be just putting together doctor's appointments or getting them the login.gov or ID me verification in order for them to be able to get onto the VA website and file for a claim, or housing assistance. I mean, like, it's kind of a long list of items that I do, but all my services are free of charge. I will never charge my veterans for a single dollar, and everything that I've done so far is self-funded. I'm coming here to request to see if there's any way to appeal the decision that the board has made on my grant hearing. If so, like I said, it was my first time. I asked for a god-awful amount, and I didn't realize how much to ask for or how less to ask for. But with my trial and error, I have learned. I was hoping to request that you guys would approve at least a $5,500 grant for the Veteran Life Fund Initiative, so that way I can continue to do my services. I've had to get a second job just so that way I can continue to serving. My husband works 2 jobs, and we have, like I said, we're self-funded, and we have been since we became a formalized 501c as of January. Does that make sense? Yeah, that's a lot.
Can you pause for 1 second? We are having staff converse on this. So have you talked to staff at all? I'm not supposed to ask you questions, but I'm going to go ahead and ask you a couple questions on this one. Have you talked to staff on this?
Yes, I have.
Okay, recently?
The day that I went on to Grant Zoom to check on my application, it's been declined.
Okay.
I was told that there was an email sent out as to why. I didn't get that email, so then I called and I asked why.
Okay.
It was pretty much, it was a very vague but wide range of a denial. Never really pinpointed exactly why I got declined.
Okay.
That's why I'm here today.
And you're asking for $5,500 from the city?
Or anything, really.
Yeah. And the city is looking at that from the legal standpoint? Okay. Whatever the city does to you under 10,000, I'll match whatever the city does for me, okay? So they'll talk to you after this, right?
Hey, thank you.
All right. Thank you, ma'am. Thank you for doing what you're doing.
Thank you.
Ms. Shannon Semo.
Earlier, when the staff member was making the presentation regarding the medical clinic, my criticism in no way was aimed at you. You worked hard. I'm not sure why council pivoted on a long diatribe. It had nothing to do with you. You did great. I'm sure all of you worked super hard. When I come up here, it's not you guys, it's them. So, that being said, oh my gosh, I can't believe you just did that. Here's the thing. So, we're all here. We're going to have Amcor, whether, everybody wanted or not, and all of these things are going to go through because you guys always vote yes, and then, people want really bad, like, medical clinics and stuff like that, and so they'll just push it through just as they did with the Amcor. And then they did all of the lean management and the Sigma Beta Phi whatever thing for the lean management and all of it. And I've looked at this for a really long time, and I've been here since forever ago, and nothing is gelled. I don't even know what stuff you guys have read. It's frightening. And again, it's not you guys. I know you guys are working on it. You are given a task and you are doing a great job by doing what you were hired to do. It's the vision. And the fact that Initially, things were laid out in a certain way, and then during the presentation today, it was that Amcor wanted to expand and not be, or have the opportunity not to necessarily have to be in Vistancia so that they could expand to go with TSMC, or to match whatever TSMC is able to produce. And that's how it was explained. And initially, it wasn't explained like that at all. In fact, it was the polar opposite. So everything continues to change, and I understand land has changed, deals have changed. I get it. Things change. Prices of things have changed. Obviously, with the price of oil, I feel like that we should be kind of hoarding instead of spending, because we really don't know what's ahead of us with the Strait of Hormuz, with Taiwan, with China, with Iran. Like, we are in a really strange thing. And sometimes it's better to like hunker down and just kind of wait and see how everything pans out, especially with the water, instead of just slamming the gas in the name of innovation and the company-wide policy of, I don't know, your vision. It affects the rest of us too, and we're not in on that vision. We live here, we pay the taxes, we've been here. Y'all just got here, a lot of you. So, just saying. Thanks.
There being no further business, I declare the meeting adjourned. Special meeting now. So, special meeting, I hereby call the May 19th, 2026 special meeting to order. Will the clerk please note the roll? The only item on the agenda for today is to adopt the FY 2027 final budget. Council, do we have any further discussion on that? Seeing none. Council, do I have a motion to approve one, actually, hold on one second, we have one speaker. Ms. Shansima, would you like to speak on that too? You sure? Just want to make sure. Council, do I have a motion to approve agenda item 1R?
Motion to approve 1R.
Council, do I have a second? Second. Councilor Dunn?
I vote yes.
Thank you. And it passes 7-0. Thank you. There being no further business, I hereby declare the special meeting adjourned. Have a good night.